Avi crossed the world of pirates and began by creating the Empire of Noxas, developing it into the world's largest power. Whether it is wealth, military power, or military prowess, the Empire of Texas will undoubtedly be the number one. The heavenly dragon people force you to kneel down with hereditary power and false reputation. Noxus wants you to stand up and be reborn in glory. For emperors, navy, Tianlong people, revolutionary army, either bow down or perish in front of the imperial army. The flag of Texas will be planted all over the world, and any enemy that obstructs the imperial conquest of the world will be crushed and crushed. All of this started with Jinkesi publicly shooting and killing 2 Tianlong peopleFeilu. Novel network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The Empire of Texas. You are listening at novel.Audio. A Great Voyage. New World Seas. The Empire of Texas. The predecessor of the Noxus Empire was the Kingdom of Bamavia, a poor small country with a population of less than 50,000. But in just 5 years, this poor small country developed into the world's largest military power today, the Empire of Texas. Even the giant kingdom known as the number one powerhouse, Elbath, dared not compete with Noxus in terms of military power. And all of this started with the succession of the only prince in the former kingdom of Bamavia. This prince's name is Wittelsbach Avi, and he ascended to the throne at the age of 16, at the age of 20.1. Starting from his succession to the throne, Avi's first act was to rename the kingdom of Bamavia to the Empire of Noxas. Subsequently, Avi announced the establishment of the position of Grand Commander in the Empire, as the highest military officer of the Empire. Avi assumed the position of Grand Commander in the Noxus Empire, and the Noxus Empire will also provide comprehensive military services. From then on, the Noxus Empire began its astonishing rise. In just 1 year, the empire conquered all the surrounding countries, island towns, and captured a vast sea area. In the following year, the Empire of Texas was digesting the fruits of victory, stabilizing people's livelihoods, and strengthening the economy. In the 3rd year, the Norse Empire once again began its campaign, and its territorial waters more than doubled. The empire's military strength also began to catch the world's attention and became well-known to the world. In the same year, the Empire of Texas was invited by the world government to become a member of the world government. In the same year, the Empire of Texas, in order to create more wealth, invited the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Renata Galask has built 2 cities, named Piltwave and Swine. In the following 2 years, the Noxus Empire did not launch any more wars, but instead focused on developing the economy and training troops. After 2 years of development, Picheng and Zuan have become world-renowned. Piltwave, abbreviated as Picheng, is known as the City of Technology and Commerce, and is the world's largest trading city, gathering merchants from all over the world. This city strongly encourages invention and creation, and has set up various awards with a 20% tax revenue from Picheng to reward inventors and scientists. Therefore, Picheng occasionally has extremely brilliant inventions that attract scientists from all over the world. Even the genius scientist Vegapunk has visited the city and greatly praised its civilization and rules. Contrary to Pi City, Zuan is known as the City of Dark Evil. Zuan is now the world's largest underground world trading city, where various types of weapons and prohibited items strictly prohibited by the world government can be purchased. And there are also various mercenary groups stationed here, where you can easily use money to hire a large number of mercenaries to fight for your country, and even hire assassins to kill. Therefore, the most wanted criminals, pirates, gangs, and bounty hunters in Zuan come from all over the world. The name of Zuan, a city of sin, is truly true. Gathering so many lawless villains, it is reasonable to say that the public security in Zuan is very poor, and bloodshed and killing are the key. But in fact, the public security in Zuan is surprisingly good. Because there is an iron rule in Zuan that cannot be violated, which is that there must be no private fighting or fighting in Zuan, otherwise both parties involved in the fighting will be executed by Zuan's law enforcement forces. In the past 2 years, there have been lawless individuals in Zuan who have challenged the rules here, but without exception, their bodies have been thrown into the sea to feed the fish. Even Joker, known as the #1 intermediary in the underground world, set his trading location in Zuan because it was safe enough, and the Navy and world government could not control or dare to intervene. With the continuous wealth earned by Pi City and Swan, the military power of the Noxus Empire rapidly expanded and expanded. Nowadays, the Noxus Empire has 350,000 professional soldiers, each of whom is a highly trained elite. The soldiers of the Noxus Empire not only possess strong physique, but also had a steel-like will, capable of sacrificing for the Empire at any time. In addition to the military, the Empire has more than 200 various warships, each equipped with powerful firepower. Due to the scientific power of Pichun, the warships of the Noxus Empire even surpassed the Navy's warships in terms of technological power. Not only that, the Empire also secretly cultivated 3 pirate groups, and the leader of each pirate group was a bounty of over 300 million. These 3 pirate groups are mainly responsible for dealing with things that are clearly not suitable for the Noxus Empire to do. Of course, the Empire also had a secret agency similar to the world government CP agency responsible for intelligence and assassination, named Black Rose, by Avi. Relying on its strong military power, the Noxus Empire became the world's recognized military superpower, with no one daring to provoke it. Not to mention being a pirate, even the world government was extremely wary. However, the Empire of Noxas was a country that should not have existed in this world, and even most of its cadres did not belong to this world, including the Grand Commander of the Empire, Avenue. Away, a human from the 21st century Earth. That is commonly known as a traveler. Avi traveled to this world 8 years ago, carrying a system called the League of Legends system called the Golden Finger. The reward mechanism of the League of Legends system distributes rewards in the form of completing tasks. For example, when the system triggers a task to create a country in League of Legends, Avi changes the original kingdom of Bamavia to the Empire of Noxas. Therefore, Away gained the swordsmanship and strength of the hero in League of Legends, the fierce swordsman Aso. For example, Avi conquered neighboring countries, expanded his territory, and increased his population. The system rewarded 2 heroes in League of Legends, Drius the Hand of Knox and Tyrone the Blade and Shadow. The system rewards characters or items from League of Legends. The only exception is the tricolor dominance, which has been included in the League of Legends system. Not only has Away been rewarded by the system with armed color dominance and visible color dominance, but any hero in the League of Legends summoned by the system is also proficient in armed color dominance and visible color dominance. This is a setting specially added by the system to integrate the framework of this world. In these 8 years, the reason why Avi was able to develop the Noxus Empire into a country with unparalleled wealth and military power was due to the heroes summoned by the system. So far, Iway has 12 heroes from League of Legends under his command. They are Jericho Swine, Drius, Samala, Tyrone, Catalina, Klee, Renata, Jinx, Sailfine, Jess, Zhao Xin, and Ziwana. Picheng and Zuan have the current situation thanks to Renata's business acumen. In the background story of League of Legends, Renata started from scratch based solely on her own name and her parents' alchemy research achievements, becoming the richest man among the Zuan alchemy barons. She also successfully whitewashed herself through secret means and became a wealthy merchant in Pi City. In the background story, Renata's goal is to create a commercial empire with her own mind, in order to control the world. With such commercial talents operating the commercial trade of the Noxus Empire, there will naturally be a continuous stream of wealth entering the Empire's treasury. Chapter 2. Tianlong Man Assault. You are listening at novel.Audio. The year 1519 in the High Yuan calendar. New World Seas. At night. On a magnificent ship, the lights were shining brightly and neon lights flickered, becoming the most dazzling light in the dark sea. This is the world's largest entertainment city, the Gulen Tetzolo. Gulen Tetzolo is a 10,000-meter, 10-kilometer, long, gold-covered giant ship with a town on top. It is the world's largest entertainment city, recognized by the government as an independent country and an unarmed zone. Even the world government cannot act casually in an absolute sanctuary. The owner of this giant ship is Gil Tetzolo, also known as the Golden Emperor, a person with the ability to produce golden fruits. Tetzolo owns 20% of the world's Pele, and can even leverage the power of world governments to balance black and white. In the underground world, he is the Golden Emperor who controls the dark world with money, and his influence is spread throughout the world. However, today, a shocking Tianlong attack occurred on the so-called Absolute Holy Land, Gulen Tetzolo. The Tianlong people are descendants of 19 out of 20 kings who formed the world government 800 years ago. They claim to be descendants of the Creator and enjoy all privileges, making them the nobles among the nobility. Once offended, a naval general or CP0 must be deployed for protection. For the arrogant and rampant Tianlong people, except for Maria, they can act recklessly anywhere in this world. The regulations on the Gulen Tetzolo cannot limit the Tianlong people. The Tianlong named Rodriguez and his 11-year-old son who had an accident on the Gulen Tetzolo were named. That is to say, 2 Tianlong people died in this incident. An hour ago, the world's top performer and the first singer of the Noxus Empire, Safani, was invited to perform a song by Gulen Tetzolo and just finished at the entertainment city. The cause of the incident is also simple. The dragon man Rodriguez took a liking to Sailphone and wanted to recruit her as his 23rd wife. Tianlong people can choose anyone they like as their spouse, and as long as they get tired of it, they can throw it away. Rodriguez immediately sent guards to try to snatch Sailphone after he took notice of her. Of course, Salafini could not agree, which led to a dispute between the two sides. Coincidentally, a member of the Imperial Guard of Texas, Jinx also followed Sailphone to the entertainment city for a visit. Seeing this scene, she immediately came over to join the fun. After discovering that someone dared to bully the people of the Noxus Empire, Jinx's madness didn't have so many concerns. On the spot, he took out Gatling hanging from his waist and thrust Rodriguez. Rodriguez's 11-year-old son was right next to him, and Jinx directly shot the father and son together. The father and son of the Tianlong people were directly beaten into a ball of meat by Jinkesi. Because the incident happened in public, it immediately caused a huge uproar. The Golden Emperor, Tetzolo, also felt extremely headache at this time. The killing of the world noble Tianlong people will inevitably lead to naval generals coming to suppress them. Perhaps in his capacity, handing over Sailphone and Jinx will be fine, and the Navy and the world government will not make things difficult for him. But the problem is that if he really hands over Sailphone and Jinx, it will definitely offend the Noxus Empire. The Norse Empire is also difficult to deal with. The Empire of Noxas is known as the top military power, with a highly powerful army and extremely powerful generals. Even the fourth emperor, who ruled the New World, dared not tease the tiger beard of Noxas. The key is not only military strength, but also economic strength. The outside world claims that he is the world's richest man, controlling 20% of the world's Bailey, but in reality, that's just exaggeration. He's not that impressive, it's just good to be able to control 10%. He knew better than anyone that the Empire of Texas was truly wealthy, and the economy of the City of Commerce and Progress of Piltworth had already surpassed the wealth of all his industries. Even he has deep business dealings with Pai Cheng. The Norse Empire is still known for its domineering and protective nature. If he hands over Sailphone and Jinx, he can't say for sure whether Noxus will deal with the world government, but he will definitely be held accountable. At that time, there would be no place for him in the New World, either to seek refuge with the world government or with the fourth emperor. The fourth emperor may not be able to protect him either. Just as Tetzolo was in a dilemma. A strange-looking doll-like figure walked through the wall. This person is the guard of the entertainment city, Mr. Tanaka. He has the ability to pierce through fruits and can pass through all non-living beings. Tesoro looked at Mr. Tanaka and asked, have those two women from Texas been arranged yet? We arranged them in the hotel's large suite, providing delicious food and drinks, Mr. Tanaka replied. Ah. What trouble? That crazy woman dared to shoot and kill the Tianlong people on the spot, without any respect for the world's nobles. Taizolo grabbed his scalp and said with a headache on his face. The people of the Noxus Empire were notorious for being arrogant, and you know that. Besides, that crazy woman was already crazy, Mr. Tanaka replied. Do you have any good ideas? Tetsolo asked. Boss, I think the best way now is to notify the people in Texas to come and pick up these two women. The world government will hold them accountable, and we will say that the people have fled back to Texas and ask the Navy to go to Texas to ask for them. This has nothing to do with us. Mr. Tanaka immediately came up with an idea. Taizolo's expression moved upon hearing this, but he still had some doubts. This is a solution, I'm afraid the world government will hold us accountable for it. Just spend some money to solve it. Senior officials in the world government are much easier to talk to than officials in Texas. We are also a member country, and in order to avoid influence, the world government will not rashly take action against us. Texas may not be the same, Mr. Tanaka said again. That's what we'll do. You go get in touch with Knox and ask them to come and take those two women away. I'm afraid CP0 or the Admiral has already set off by this time, so we must hurry, Tetsolo ordered. Don't worry, today's incident happened in public, and with Noxus intelligence capabilities, they must have known about it. They probably sent someone over, Mr. Tanaka replied. Moo roar. At this moment, a strange roar sounded over the Gulen Tetsolo. Tesoro and Mr. Tanaka immediately looked at the sky through the window of the room. I saw a giant dragon with a chill all over its body, an ice crystal crown on its head, a strand of blue hair on its neck, and a huge body hovering in the air. The cadre of Texas, Frost Dragon, Sylvana, came so fast. Tesolo revealed the identity of this giant dragon in the sky. I will arrange for someone to take those two women to the square and have them pick them up, Mr. Tanaka said. Go ahead. Tetsolo replied. Chapter 3. Naval Generals vs. Knox's Hand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tetsolo watched as the highest-ranking official of the Noxus Empire, Havana, who had transformed into an ice dragon, left with Jinx and Sailfine, feeling a sigh of relief in his heart. These two women have left, and his entertainment city is now safe. Tetsolo immediately leaked the news of Sailfine and Jinx's departure to the world government. The naval fleet, originally led by Admiral Qingji, immediately turned around and headed towards the waters of the Norse Empire. At the same time, the Empire of Texas was also mobilizing its forces, with 30 large warships en route towards the maritime border. A century-long war is on the verge of breaking out. The movements of the world government and the Noxus Empire quickly attracted the attention of major forces in the New World, all of whom were staring at the Noxus Empire. When the naval fleet arrived near the waters of the Noxus Empire, it was directly intercepted by the Noxus fleet. The Navy only received 10 warships, with 10,000 Navy members. The main ship was manned by Admiral Qingji, and CP0 also sent 5 special agents to accompany them. 10 warships, all of which are the strongest and most aggressive in the Navy, were built by the Imperial shipyard Shueiji Chidao, and their quality is beyond doubt. Dealing with the Sea King class is basically not a problem, there are about 1,000 naval soldiers on each warship. This is already the configuration of the demon-slaying order. No, the configuration of the demon-slaying order is not so high, after all, even the naval generals have personally come. However, compared to the Noxus Empire, the Navy's strength is somewhat insufficient. On the side of the Noxus Empire, 30 warships were lined up in a majestic manner, with 40,000 soldiers with strong backs staring at the navy with a proud expression. Qingji walked up to the bow of the warship and looked at the warships of the Noxus Empire. Helplessly, he said, "Ah la la. Please, look at this posture. Noxus will definitely not have any friends." At this moment, the fleet of the Noxus Empire rang out with shouts. "This is the waters of the Noxus Empire. The naval forces ahead are prohibited from advancing. Any military armed force that dares to enter the Empire's waters without the consent of the Noxus Empire will be considered as declaring war on the Empire, and our side will directly open fire and sink." Repetition. "This is the waters of the Norse Empire, and naval forces ahead are prohibited from moving forward." Upon hearing this, Admiral Guy Spider from the headquarters of a naval ship said in a deep voice, "Humph. You're really domineering, Knox. We're the Navy. With the military power of the Noxus Empire, they wouldn't care about the Navy," said the Lieutenant General. At this moment, a pitch-black warship from the Imperial fleet of Texas approached the Navy. In no time, it stopped 20 meters from the bow of the Navy's main ship. "I am General of the Empire of Texas, Commander of the Leicester Garrison, Drius." Drius stood at the bow of the ship and shouted loudly. Behind Drius stood two generals, Shamila and Zhao Xian. The Green Pheasant also came to the bow of the ship and said, "General Drius, I am the Green Pheasant of the Navy headquarters." It turned out to be General Kazan. "I wonder why your navy came to our empire with great fanfare?" Drius asked knowingly. "If I remember correctly, the Empire of Texas is also a member of the world government, and our navy has the right to patrol, dock, and arrest criminals in your country's waters," said Qingji. "That's another franchise country. In the Empire of Texas, our waters have our own rules. Any armed fleet entering the Empire's waters must be reported and approved by the Empire's Defense Department. Even the world government or your navy's fleet is no exception. In this regard, the Empire has already obtained the consent of the world government and signed an agreement when accepting the invitation of the world government's franchise country." Drius replied. Upon hearing this, Qingji was too lazy to talk to Delius about these things and directly said, "Your country's cadres Sailfine and Jinx killed two world noble Tianlong people on the Gulan Tezelo. I hope your country hands over these two criminals to avoid unnecessary sacrifices caused by war between the two sides. It's just a worm that killed two worlds, let alone the one that provoked our people first," said Drius calmly. The captain of CP0 on the side took a step forward and angrily warned, "Drius, I hope you speak carefully. World nobles are not something you can insult. It is a grace for us to only ask you to hand over those two women. Otherwise, for this crime, your leader will have to face judgment." Delius looked at the CP0 and said coldly, "What a bullshit world aristocrat. People, we won't hand it over. If you want to go to war, just come and end our conversation with you." After speaking, Delius ordered the warship to return directly. "Damn it. Do you know what it costs to be enemies with our world government?" shouted the captain of CP0. Delius paid no attention to him at all. Upon seeing this, Qingji turned around and contacted Admiral Warring States with a phone worm. Naturally, he dared not act rashly. With this formation, if war were to break out here, they would surely be killed. Mr. Warring States, the attitude of the Noxus Empire was very tough. They intercepted our fleet directly outside the sea. And if we dare to break into the Noxus waters, they will directly fire and sink us. Now we are facing off against the Noxus fleet. Qingji truthfully reported the situation on the scene to the Buddha Warring States. "So Noxus wants to protect those two women, it's really a headache," said the Warring States of Buddha, covering his forehead. "What should we do now? Forcefully breaking through is definitely not enough. The strength of the Noxus Empire is no longer something that I, as a naval general, can handle." Qingji asked. "Don't act rashly. I will report the situation to the world government now and wait in place for the next order," warned the Buddha in the Warring States period. In this situation, a bad one can trigger a war. In the New World, the Navy was not prepared to fight against forces that could rival the Fourth Emperor, even surpassing any Fourth Emperor in terms of military strength. Without the need for Marshal Buddha's Warring States report, the 5 old stars in Maria have already received on-site intelligence from CP0 as soon as possible. They are also extremely troubled by this. If possible, they are also unwilling to provoke Texas. But the Tianlong people were shot and killed by officials from Texas in front of everyone. If the world government did not take action, then what is the credibility? In the future, who will still consider the world government and the world aristocrats, the Tianlong people? The world government is now in a dilemma, and at the same time, it is extremely angry about the strength of the Noxus Empire. They are just 2 insignificant officials who are willing to oppose them. They have already had negotiations between the foreign ministers of the world government and the Chief of Staff and Military Secretary of Texas, Swine, hoping for a good outcome. Chapter 4. The Hardline Attitude of the Norse Empire. You are listening at Naval. The Norse Empire, Palace. Swine, Chief of Staff and Minister of War of the Empire of Texas, just received a call from Alfred Wells, the Foreign Secretary of the World Government. Hello. I am Swine, Chief of Staff of the Empire of Texas. Your Excellency, Chief of Staff, I am Wells, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs of the World Government. Wells' voice came from the telephone worm. It's Mr. Wells, hello. Swine replied. Your Excellency Chief of Staff, should your country send troops to prevent the Navy from entering your country's waters and arresting 2 criminals who shot and killed world nobles? Wells questioned. In 1517, the Empire and the world government signed a treaty of alliance with the world government in Maria. One of the provisions was that any military armed force entering the Empire's waters must obtain the Empire's consent. If you don't notify us in advance, let a naval general come over with tens of thousands of naval soldiers, and the Empire considers it a provocation, and of course, they must defend themselves. Swine replied. I am applying to you now, hoping that your country can allow our naval fleet to enter the sea and arrest criminals, Wells said. On behalf of the Empire, I reject your application, Sven declined. Your Excellency Swine. The 2 criminals we want to arrest are heinous criminals who shot and killed the world's noble Tianlong people, which is unacceptable to the world. If your country shields these 2 people, it will be enemies with the world. Wells shouted loudly. They are not criminals, they are the backbone cadres of the Noxus Empire, and as far as I know, they were provoked by the Tianlong people first, Swine said. So what? They are the heavenly dragon people, the highest nobles in the world, descendants of 19 out of 20 kings who formed the world government 800 years ago. They are descendants of the Creator, and without them, there would be no world. They enjoy all the privileges that the world should give them. Wells shouted. Humph. You're really a good dog of the Tianlong people. How do I think the world would be better without them? Swine sneered. Upon hearing Swine's mockery, Wells asked with a gloomy expression, Your Excellency Swine. Does your country want to go to war with the world government? Mr. Wells, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, you are really incompetent. How can you casually say the word war? The Empire has no intention of going to war with the world government, but if the world government wants to go to war, then go to war. The Empire's 350,000 soldiers think of war day and night, and have long hoped to expand their territory for the Empire without fear. Swine said stubbornly. Wells's face turned extremely ugly upon hearing this, as can be seen from the expression on the phone worm's face. The telephone worm was able to mimic the expression and demeanor of the caller, so Swine also saw it. The 5 old stars asked him to negotiate in the hope of avoiding a standoff with the Norse Empire and successfully resolving this matter. But the Noxus Empire had no intention of negotiating, and beyond words, they were extremely disdainful of the Draconians. Your Excellency Swine, you have come up with a plan. To go to war with the world government for 2 insignificant women. Do you really think you have the strength to fight against the world government with more than 170 franchise countries? Wells threatened. There are no insignificant citizens in the Empire of Texas, each one is a talent and wealth of the empire. Even if guilty, it should be judged by the Imperial Justice Department. As for whether there is the strength to fight against the world government, we will wait and see, Swine replied. Since that's the case, then you can wait for our ruling. You will definitely regret it. Click. Wells gritted his teeth and said a harsh sentence, then hung up the phone. Worm. Swine smiled nonchalantly upon seeing the situation, got up and left the office, heading towards the office of the Grand Commander of the Empire. Away, come to Avi's office. At this moment, Away was sitting on the sofa chair smoking a cigar, handing out documents, and a senior sister's assistant in a suit and dress, wearing glasses, stood by. Commander-in-Chief, Swine called out. Away put down the document and looked up with a smile, saying, "The Chief of Staff is here, sit down." Swine sat down on the chair opposite Avril Lavigne's desk and said, "General, the Foreign Secretary of the World Government, Wells, just called me. Do you want us to hand over the explosive and Sasha?" Away asked. "That's right. After all, 2 Tianlong people have died. If we don't handle it properly, the credibility and prestige of the world government will be greatly reduced. Now the whole world is waiting to see the result." Swine said. "Humph. Then let the whole world see them laughing." Away sneered. "We are not fully prepared to go to war with the world government," Swine said. "Don't worry. The world government dare not go to war with us in the New World. If the world government really has such toughness, the 4th Emperor cannot dominate the New World for so long," said Away. Away's elder sister's assistant brought a cup of tea and placed it in front of Swine. Swine picked up a teacup and took a sip of hot tea, then said, "But in this way, we will have a bad relationship with the world government, and the legitimate identity of this franchise country will also be lost. This is a big blow to our commercial trade. It's only a matter of time before we have a falling out with the world government. You should know that the world government has already started secretly cracking down on our merchant ships, and our rapid development has already aroused their fear. Instead of secretly scheming and fighting, let's just tear our faces apart this time. He hits us, we can also hit him," Away said. "What does Renata say? Can we stabilize the economy?" Sven asked. Renata said, "Everything is done according to the will of the Empire. There is a trade method of tearing face with the world government, but in the future, merchant ships will need to cooperate more with the military, and they will be converted into warships." Away replied, "Renata is extremely important to our empire, and she needs to strengthen her defense. The world government's espionage agency, the CP organization, is likely to take action against Renata," Swine said. "I've already arranged for Katerina to secretly protect her," Away said, placing the cigar on the ashtray. "Chief of Staff, you said the world government can't do anything about us, but what will they do if they want to regain face?" Away also took a sip of tea and asked. Swine thought for a moment and then said, "Tesalo. Heroes have similar opinions. Bullying the soft and fearing the hard, why can't we? The world government will inevitably take action from another role in this incident," Away laughed. "Taizolo will definitely not be able to deal with world governments, so he will definitely seek asylum. The Empire can take advantage of this opportunity to recruit this talent," Swine continued to analyze. "Yes. I am also envious of the wealth of this Golden Emperor," Away said. "However, if we were to protect Taijolo, it would probably really anger the world government and make it difficult to end," said Swine. "If it's not easy to end, then let's fight. We should show our teeth, otherwise some people will think our empire is a paper tiger," Away said lightly. Swine didn't say anything when he heard Away's words, just picked up his teacup and took another sip. In fact, he didn't want the empire to have a big fight with the world government now. At present, the strength of the Noxus Empire is only at the level of a fourth emperor, and even if it is strong, it cannot be much stronger. The world government has ruled the world for over 800 years, and there are too many strong to be destroyed by the current Empire of Texas. Away saw Swain's concern and said again, Swain, I know what you're worried about. You're worried that the Noxus Empire may not be able to get a good deal by confronting the world government at this time. Yes. Compared to the size of the world government, we are still slightly inferior. Although we have sufficient troops, our backbone and high-end combat capabilities are still insufficient. Swain replied. Don't worry. The world government dare not launch a full-scale war against us in the New World. They still have to worry about the 4 emperors and some major powers in the New World. Fighting us too hard in the New World will not benefit them, said Away. Besides, for the sake of Tazolo's talent and his enormous wealth, no matter how we fight this battle, we will definitely not lose, Away said again. Chapter 5. Decision-making of 5 old stars. You are listening at Naval. Inside the World Government Building in the Holy Land of Maria. The 5 old stars gathered together. Foreign Secretary Wells bowed and reported to the 5 elderly people about his conversation with Swine. The attitude of the Noxus Empire remained firm, and Chief of Staff Swain did not reveal any thoughts of those 2 criminals. Even inside and outside, there was no reverence for the world's nobility, and there was extreme disdain for the world government. Wells said. Dong. Humph. This Texas is really domineering. It doesn't take the world government seriously at all. Wearing a black suit, with white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, wearing a flat hat, and a scar on the left face, one of the 5 old stars holding a cane, scientific defense god J. Galusia Sutanton said coldly with a cane. You step back. One of the 5 old stars, dressed in a dark green suit, bald, with a 2-legged mustache and a birthmark on his forehead, Topman Wachali, the god of justice and martial arts, said to Wells. Yes. Wells bowed again and cautiously exited the room. After Wells left, Jagalucia Satan immediately said, Dispatch troops, let's go to war. We have been silent for too long, causing pirates and some forces to become too rampant. We no longer regard the world government, and it's time to shine our swords. That's right. 2 women from Texas killed Rodriguez and his son, and now they don't even want to hand them over, which is provoking us. The whole world is watching us laugh. We must be strong, Topman Wachali agreed. The speed at which Knox expands is too astonishing. If they are allowed to continue developing, they will eventually become a major threat. It is a good opportunity to strike them, eliminate them in one fell swoop, and intimidate the world. Wearing a white Taoist robe, bald, wearing glasses, and holding a long sword, one of the 5 old stars, Izanbalan v. Nashowling also agreed to take action against Noxus. Marcus Maz, the 5 elders star, environmental martial god, with a straight body and long white hair and beard, does not agree with the views of these 3 people and said with a worried expression. Are you sure you have decided to go to war with the Empire of Texas in the New World? That's the New World. Kai Duo, white beard, Big Mom, red hair, and some powerful dark forces are all watching. As long as the battle ends together, it will be difficult to stop. If the 4th Emperor or other major forces join in, it will be even more complicated, that's right. If we were to lose both sides against the Empire of Texas, the ambitious generation would not miss this opportunity, and the current situation is likely to completely collapse. The Golden 5-star, god of agriculture, Shepherd 10 Pitt also disagrees with the war with the Empire of Texas in the New World. The words of these 2 people left the 3 veteran stars in silence, which was indeed a problem that they had to face. The waters of the New World are too complex, and the forces that the world government fears are all there. It is indeed too dangerous to go to war with the Empire of Texas there. However, there must be an explanation for the murder of the world's nobles, otherwise there is no credibility. Who still looks up to the world government and respects the heavenly dragon people, said the forensic god Topman watchily. I have a plan that can ensure the deterrence of the world government and solve the problem without the need to go to war with Texas, said the environmental warrior Marcus Maz. The other 4 veteran stars immediately turned their gaze to him. Ahem. Marcus Maz coughed twice and then said, this incident happened on Tetsolo's ship. He has a certain responsibility, so let's continue to ask him for help. If Tetsolo can't give it, then let's wipe out Tetsolo's power, which happens to embezzle his wealth. In this way, it can also serve as a warning to the monkeys and earn a large amount of funds, while also letting other forces know that the Tianlong people should not be offended. After listening to this plan, the 4 veteran stars were all moved. Marcus Marston continued, as for Noxus, let's cancel his franchise status and classify him as a pirate force. We prohibit other franchise countries of the world government from trading with Noxus, restrict their economy, and strike at Noxus commercial ships at sea. After listening, the 4 veteran stars all agreed to this plan in their hearts. This plan is truly a win-win situation, as it can save face, seize the wealth of Tezalo, and avoid direct conflict with the Norse Empire. Of course, it would definitely be more prestigious to directly strike Knox, but in the New World, they really dare not touch Knox. Since Texas is too strong to move, then we can only move Tesoro. Then follow this plan and we will publish another newspaper that characterizes Tetsolo as the mastermind of this incident. He maliciously provoked the conflict between the Dragon Man and the 2 women of Noxus, which is why we sanction Tetsolo. However, it will also make Noxus pay the price, said the god of scientific defense, Jagalucia Satan. Supplementary proposal. Supplementary proposal. Supplementary proposal. Supplementary proposal. Quickly, all 5 veteran stars agreed to this plan. The god of legal martial arts, Topman watchily, picked up the phone worm and contacted the Buddha Warring States. The Warring States period of the Buddha was a bit confused when they learned that the 5 elders had decided to withdraw their troops from the Noxus Empire and turn to deal with Tezalo. This is the delicate squeezing of persimmons. Unable to deal with Noxus, take Tetsolo and perform an operation. Although there were some grievances during the Warring States period of the Buddha, they still issued orders to Qingji to withdraw his troops and go to Gulan Tezalo to eliminate Tezalo. The green pheasant, who was facing off against the fleet of the Noxus Empire, was also somewhat confused upon hearing the order. Aren't we here to catch the culprit? How did you turn around and deal with Tezolo? The virtue of the world government has been witnessed by the young pheasant. Chapter 6. The world government of bullying the soft and fearing the hard. You are listening at Naval full.audio. The green pheasant evacuated with the fleet from the border of the Noxus Empire and returned to Tezalo, directly surrounding the Gulan Tezalo. Not only that, the Navy also dispatched 10 more warships over. 20 warships surrounded the Gulan Tetsolo, and with just a command from the green pheasant, they immediately began shelling. At this moment, Emperor Tezolo's face was also extremely ugly. Although the warships had already left, they returned and launched an attack. They said they wanted to hand over the criminals Jinx and Sailfini who shot and killed the Tianlong people themselves, but how did they do it themselves? The people were all taken away by the officials of the Noxus Empire. He had already heard that hundreds of warships from the Noxus Empire were blocking the navy at the border, and he was waiting to see the Noxus Empire and the world government go to war. The news of war did not arrive, but what arrived was that he was surrounded by the navy. The world government, as a typical example of bullying the soft and fearing the hard, is not afraid of being laughed at by the people of the world. Tetsolo immediately contacted a high-ranking official in the world government, the Chancellor of the Exchequer Simon Bride. But the news from Bride is very bad. Tezolo, hurry up and hand over Jinx and Saphini. I can try to protect you, otherwise you'll be waiting for the navy to destroy you. Bride said. Mr. Bride, those 2 women have already escaped and been picked up by people from Texas. Where should I go to find them? They are in Texas, and your world government knows this news. Why do you want to make friends with me? Tetsolo said helplessly. Isn't this bullying honest people? Those two women are clearly in Texas. If you don't go to Texas to find someone, why are you looking for me? We don't care about this. Borja Rodriguez Saint and Borja Selt Saint died on your ship, and you have to take responsibility for it to the end. Either you go find someone from Texas, or you prepare to bear the anger of the world government. Bride said arrogantly. Upon hearing this, Tizolo's mouth twitched and he went to find someone important from the Empire of Texas himself. Don't you want to die then? Mr. Bride, do me a favor. How can this matter be resolved? You can offer me a price, and I can hand over 1/3 of my wealth, Tetsolo pleaded. There is no room for negotiation on this matter. The Tianlong people were attacked and killed, and the world government must give an explanation to the world nobility, as well as an explanation to the world, so that everyone knows that the Tianlong people are inviolable. Bride replied firmly. Click speaking, Bride hung up the phone worm directly. Mr. Bride, hello. Mr. Bride. Bang. Damn it. Tetsolo angrily smashed the table made of gold. Mr. Tanaka was also very panicked now and asked Tetsolo, Boss, what should we do now? You asked me. You came up with a good idea. Tetsolo retorted irritably. Boss, the world government will inevitably eliminate us for the sake of face, and there is no room for negotiation. We might as well join other forces, suggested Mr. Tanaka. We are all surrounded, who can we turn to? Who dares to take the risk of angering the world government to save us? Tetsolo said. The only thing that can save us now is the Empire of Texas. We may as well join the Empire, donate all our assets, and have the Empire send people to save us, said Mr. Tanaka. Give up all your property. Tesoro's face was very unpleasant. Boss, joining the Lexus Empire will provide us with complete protection from this country. With your talents and abilities, you will surely achieve high positions in the Empire. Don't forget, your woman Stella died in the hands of the Tianlong people, and you yourself were once a slave to the Tianlong people. Don't you hate them? In my opinion, the only country that can confront the world government in this world is Noxus. By joining the Noxus Empire, you can also use the power of this country to seek revenge against the Tianlong people, Mr. Tanaka advised. Upon hearing Mr. Tanaka mention Stella, Tetsolo's expression immediately turned grim. Okay. I'll contact Commander Avenue of the Empire of Texas now. Tetsolo made a decision. Stella is the eternal pain in Tetsolo's heart. Tetsolo enjoyed singing in his childhood, but was born into a very poor family. Due to his poverty, he was excluded by his friends and longed for entertainment performances to be seen outside the venue. My father was a gambler and eventually fell ill and died. When Tetsolo was 12 years old, his family became even poorer. His mother disliked Tetsolo's singing, so she ran away and stole money because she didn't have anything to eat. She made friends with the money. At the age of 16, Tetsolo suffered a major defeat at the casino and was caught by human traffickers for sale. The guys he thought were friends immediately fled, and Tetsolo was beaten badly and ran away desperately. Tetsolo, who fled, met a woman named Stella at the human trafficking market. Stella thinks his singing is great, and the two of them can chat very well. Tetsolo decided to give Stella freedom and never do anything wrong again. Tetsolo, who worked tirelessly from morning till night, needed money to save her. Money. At the age of 19, just as he was about to gather all the money to buy Stella, the heavenly dragon man appeared and easily bought Stella. Angry Tetsolo was angry at the dragon man, but was caught. Stella told Tetsolo that she felt happiness from the bottom of her heart because of Tetsolo's presence. Because the Tianlong people were wealthy, they could buy anything. Tetsolo became a major criminal and was caught as a slave to the Tianlong people. Without permission, he couldn't even laugh. Tetzolo felt that Stella, who was also arrested, was also in the Holy Land of Maria. 2 years later, one day, Tetzolo heard the news of Stella's death. Tetzolo was very sad. He felt that if he could have money, he would not be like this anymore and would be more persistent about money. But Tetzolo's identity is a slave. How can slaves make money? Fortunately, 4 years later, Fisher Tiger caused a slave liberation incident in the Holy Land, and Tetzolo escaped from the Holy Land. He hated nobles and wealthy people. Tetzolo, who escaped, obtained the golden fruit from the Don Quixote family and began the rise of the Golden Emperor. Tetzolo crazily earns wealth with the aim of using the power of money to make the invincible Tianlong people kneel before his financial power. Unfortunately, all of this has now become a bubble. Mr. Tanaka's suggestion reignited another hope of revenge, and he used the power of the massive Norse Empire to complete his revenge against the Draconians. Just right. The Noxus Empire seemed to have no regard for the Tianlong people and did not give face to the world government, which coincided with him. Do you dare to declare war on the Empire in Chapter 7? You are listening at novel.Audio. After Tetzolo made up his mind, he immediately contacted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Communications of the Empire of Texas using a telephone worm. Hello. This is the Department of Foreign Affairs and Communications of the Texas Empire. May I help you? A magnetic female voice rang from the phone worm's side. I am Guild Tetzolo, the head of the world's largest entertainment city, Gulen Tetzolo. I would like to speak directly with the Archbishop of your empire. Tetzolo introduced himself. Guild Tetzolo. The phone worm hesitated for a moment and then replied, okay. Your Highness, I will now transfer you to the exclusive administrative office of the Grand Commander. Bolu bolu bolu. Click. A series of phone worms rang out, but soon a voice rang out again in Tetzolo's phone worm. This is the General Administration Department. I am Guild Tetzolo, and I would like to speak to your commander, Tetzolo said urgently. Guild Tetzolo. Wait a moment, I'll connect you to the private phone worm of the Grand Commander. The administrative department murmured for a moment and quickly replied. After a series of phone worm dialing sounds, a male voice rang out, I'm away. Upon hearing the voice, Tetzolo quickly said, Commander Avi, I am Guild Tetzolo. Hello. Ha. So it's the famous Golden Emperor, hello. Away replied with a smile. Commander-in-Chief, your two officials, Jinx and Miss Sailfini, have been deceiving me, said Tetzolo. I'm really sorry for the trouble caused to your department. How much is the loss? You can make a list and hand it over to the Empire's Ministry of Finance, and we will compensate. Away played Tai Chi happily, but it wasn't him who was in a hurry. The Grand Commander misunderstood. I am not here to seek compensation. I want to bring all my assets to join the Empire of Texas, hoping to become a citizen of the Empire. Tetzolo immediately stated his purpose. Mr. Tetzolo, I have to say that you made a wise decision. For talents like you, the Empire welcomes you, and on behalf of the Empire, I welcome your arrival. Avi on the phone worm's side smiled. But Commander-in-Chief, I am currently surrounded by a fleet led by Navy General Qingji, hoping that the Empire can protect my personal safety, said Tetzolo. Of course. You are now a citizen of the Noxus Empire. Anyone who dares to take action against you without the Empire's consent is provoking the entire Empire. I will immediately send someone to protect you, Away agreed. Commander-in-Chief, please hurry up, the Navy is probably going to take action soon, Tetzolo said anxiously. Don't worry, the Imperial Chief of Staff and the Imperial General Air Force Commander Shavana have already set off. They will fly and arrive soon, and the Imperial Fleet Group will also arrive soon. Away replied. As early as when the Navy withdrew from the Empire's maritime border, Avi had instructed Swine and Sylvana to rush over. That's good, said Tetzolo. Tetzolo, don't worry. The Empire won't treat you unfairly. I'm waiting in the Empire to meet you, Owe said. Yes. Thank you very much, Commander. Tesoro replied. Hang up the phone. Taizolo breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Mr. Tanaka, saying, let's go. Gather your men, go out and face the Navy. With the support of the first military power of the Texas Empire, Tesoro felt that his waist had straightened a lot and he also had confidence in his heart. Okay, boss, Mr. Tanaka replied. Not long after, Tesoro came down to the bow with over 800 combat personnel. The green pheasant reached the bow of the warship with both hands in his pockets and looked at Tesoro. The CP-0 captain next to him spoke up and said, Tesoro. You conspired to kill the world nobles Rodriguez Saint and Celtic Saint. Now hand over those two murderers, and we can still deal with you with leniency. Humph, ha ha ha. Your world government is really despicable. You bully the weak and fear the hard, dare not take action against the Noxus Empire, come and trouble me, Tetsolo laughed sarcastically. The mock CP-0 captain had an unpleasant expression on his face, but he still coldly defended himself, saying, Tesolo, if you die here, of course you have to bear the main responsibility. As for Noxus, who says we dare not touch him? The world government has removed Noxus from the franchise and classified them as a pirate force. In the future, Noxus citizens will have no human rights in the world. At the end of the day, you still dare not touch the Empire. I am now a member of the Noxus Empire, and this ship is also the property of the Noxus Empire. If you touch me, it would be equivalent to declaring war on the Noxus Empire. Tesaloran said in a voice. Upon hearing this, Qingji immediately frowned. The captain of CP-0 also asked with a gloomy expression, you join Texas. If you don't give me a way out, of course I'll go find a place that can give me a way out, Tetsolo replied. General Kazan, don't worry about what he says, just take action. Even if he joins Texas, Texas has already been expelled by the world government as a pirate. CP-0's captain said to Qingji. At this moment, the flying squirrel also came to Qingji's side and suggested, General Kazan, quickly order to open fire. If he really joined Noxus, then Noxus will definitely send troops to rescue, and it will be a dilemma at that time. It's better to quickly solve Tesolo and then return to the army. No matter how arrogant Noxus is, he dare not attack our naval headquarters and openly provoke the Navy and the world government. Qingji also thought it was a good idea to take down Tetsolo before Noxus came to rescue, and this matter would be considered resolved. If the Empire of Texas dares to launch a massive attack on the Navy headquarters or Maria, it is simply seeking death, as it is their home ground. Qingji raised his hand and was about to order the warship to fire. Mu. Roa. At this moment, a dragon roar echoed through the sky. Everyone looked up and saw an icy dragon hovering in the sky. Dragon. It's a giant dragon. That's the highest official of the Noxus Empire, Frost Dragon, Sylvana. One of the rumored twin walls of the Noxus Empire, Admiral Havana. The Navy on the warship saw the giant dragon hovering in the air, and immediately showed a look of fear and discussion. Who dares to touch my citizens of Greater Texas? At this moment, another sound sounded in the sky. A blood-red eye appeared in the air, looking extremely eerie and intimidating. Immediately after, a figure dressed in armor and covered in a black robe, with white hair and a blood-red left hand, and a pair of black wings behind him, fell over Tetsolo's head. Surrounded by this figure were several crows. That blood-red eye is also his means. Chapter 8. Empire's Twin Walls, Dragon Woman and Swine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The newcomers were none other than Dragon Maiden Sylvana and Chief of Staff of the Noxus Empire, Swine. The reason why Ziwana is an ice dragon is because she has skin. Among the heroes summoned by the system after completing the mission in a way, only the Dragon Maiden has skin. The skin of the Dragon Woman is called Frost-Yalong. This skin not only changes Ziwana's appearance, but also her attributes. Originally, Ziwana was a flame demon dragon, but now she has become an ice attribute giant dragon. Ziwana, who is proficient in dual color dominance, coupled with her dragon bloodline, is extremely powerful and is known as one of the twin walls of the Empire. The so-called twin walls of the Empire are Sven and Sylvana. Ziwana's strength has not been fully demonstrated yet, but Avi speculates that at least she is at the level of a vice-emperor. The crown prince of the beast pirates, one of the three disasters, Yen Zaijin, can become the crown prince thanks to the bloodline of the Lunaria tribe, as well as the animal lineage, dragon fruit, ancient species, toothless pterosaur form demon fruit, and dual-color dominance. Ziwana possesses the legendary magical dragon bloodline, with an extremely strong physique and an innate magical talent. Coupled with her dual-color aura, she must be at the appropriate level of imperial consort. As for Swine, that's not to mention. In the background story of League of Legends, Swine is the commander of the Norse Empire. Although he was knocked down and left disabled in the Ionian War, losing his left arm, he gained new strength from the Eternal Fortress in the capital of Texas, as well as a demonic hand, possessing demonic power. Swain's strength is difficult to evaluate by Away. Based on Away's speculation, at least his strength above the rank of Imperial Vice Minister is not inferior to any major general. In fact, when it comes to Texas, there is another representative figure, and that is Drius. Drius can be said to be a symbol of power in the Norse Empire. Dries, who is proficient in dual-color dominance, is equally powerful and unparalleled, and the army he currently leads is the most elite of the Lexus garrison in the Norse Empire. The Lezer garrison had 15,000 soldiers, but these 15,000 were composed of the bravest warriors in the empire, each with 1 to 10 warriors. The Noxus Empire is no less powerful than any of the 4 emperors in both high-end and backbone combat, and even more formidable than the 4 emperors. My subordinates are so strong, and of course, Iway, the Grand Commander of the Empire, is not inferior. In recent years, Iway's strength has also improved a lot. Initially, he gained the power and swordsmanship inheritance of the wind sword hero Yasuo, which opened up the situation. Later, he also received system rewards for his mastery of seeing and hearing colorful dominance, as well as his mastery of armed colorful dominance. He also received blessings from the Divine Dragon, equivalent to the Divine Dragon Lord Yasuo. The Divine Dragon blessing that Away received was the Day True Dragon. The background story of the Divine Dragon Venerable, Daylight True Dragon, also is as follows. Yasuo chose to stand up alone and face an entire army in order to protect innocent people from reckless disasters. He blocked a narrow passage between the 2 mountains, waving the truth of steel like a dance, and knocked down countless enemies, but people always feel exhausted. Just as Yasuo was exhausted, the Daysun True Dragon was moved by his swordsmanship and descended from its peak to bless him. Therefore, Away, who received the blessing of the Day Dragon, possessed the ability to manipulate the power of the Day Dragon. The Daysun True Dragon not only gives Away more terrifying power in swordsmanship, but also stronger strength, stronger defense, and more terrifying stamina. Not long after receiving the blessing of the Daysun True Dragon, Away also received the inheritance of the Infinite Sword art from the Infinite Sword Saint Master Yi, making swordsmanship even more terrifying. And Away's domineering aura has also awakened, and through the system's rewards, he has mastered the domineering aura entanglement and is now able to compete with the 4th Emperor. The reason why Away dares to provoke the world government in this way is precisely because he has enough confidence. Let's get to the point. With the arrival of Sylvana and Swine, the navy suddenly felt like a formidable enemy. The green pheasant covered its forehead and shouted, "Allah la! Please, both walls of the Empire of Texas have arrived." The captain of CP0 saw the situation and shouted at Sven, "Do you, the Noxus Empire, insist on opposing the world government? Do you insist on causing a full-scale war with the world government in order to be willing to do so? Our Noxus Empire has no intention of being enemies with anyone, but Tezelo is a citizen of our Noxus Empire, and the Gulen Tezelo is also the property of the Empire. Our Noxus Empire has an obligation to protect the personal and property safety of its citizens. Swine replied grandly. Tianlong is just desperate, seeking shelter from your Noxus. We have withdrawn our troops from the border of your Noxus waters, and you are still aggressive. Do you really think the world government is weak? The captain of CP-0 shouted again. At this moment, on the main ship of the Navy's warship, a naval correspondent panicked and ran behind Jinkesi, saluted and quickly reported, General Kazan. Just received intelligence that the Noxus Empire had dispatched 50 warships, including the most elite Lexus garrison of Noxus, led by the Blood Axe Drius, with Thunderbolt, Zhao Xian and Imperial female general, Shamila also among them. The fleet was sailing towards this side in a grand manner, and it would take at most half a day to arrive. The green pheasant's face suddenly became solemn, truly a country renowned for its military power, capable of quickly deploying 50 warships. It seems that the Noxus Empire was determined to protect Tianlong, even willing to launch a war. Noxus' strength is so strong that even I am annoyed by his appearance. I'm afraid this time it's really impossible to do well. Jinkesi took out a phone worm and contacted Navy Marshal Buddha during the Warring States period. Hello. Marshal of the Warring States period, Guild Tianlong couldn't move either. After we surrounded the Gulen Tianlong actually contacted the Norse Empire and gave his entire fortune to Norse. Now Norse has sent their empire's chief of staff, Swine, and Air Force commander, Sylvana. I dare not go to war recklessly. The two sides are facing each other off, and the Noxus Empire has sent another general and 50 warships, which can arrive in no more than half a day. What? After listening to Jinkesi's report, the face of the Buddha in the Warring States period instantly turned ugly. What's going on with Texas? We have to force the world government and navy to go to war with them. Ha ha ha. Looking at how the world government is dealing with those guys this time, they've been blocked. As I said, why bother fighting for those scumbags? Cap's laughter came from the phone worm. Obviously, this naval hero is somewhat gloating and shows no respect towards the Tianlong people. Shut up. Cap. The scolding of Buddha's Warring States period came from the phone worm. Jinkesi was well aware of the virtues of his teacher, so his face remained expressionless. However, the captain of CP-0 next to him had an unpleasant expression. He heard that the legendary naval hero had called the noble Tianlong scum. However, at this point, it is obvious that the blade is not facing inward. When making a small report, first resolve the current dispute. Chapter 9. Wulaoxing's Wrath, IMM's Attitude, Seeking. You are listening at novel.Audio. After Jinkesi reported the news to Buddha's Warring States period, Buddha naturally did not dare to make unauthorized claims and reported the situation to the 5 old stars for decision-making. After receiving the news, the 5 old stars were extremely angry. They have all taken a step back. You forced us not to provoke you in the New World and instead went to deal with Tianlong, who was actually very innocent in this incident, to regain face. However, you are still aggressive, not even allowing Tianlong to move us. This is no longer a matter of not giving face, it's riding on their heads and defecating, rubbing the face and authority of their world government on the ground. Let's go to war. We must go to war. If we don't fight, where is our authority? In the future, anyone who sees our world government will be a joke, exclaimed the legal warrior Topman Watchley angrily. Indeed, we need to fight. Texas is advancing so far. If we don't fight, others will think we're afraid of Texas. The balance of the world cannot be maintained forever, so let's start with the Texas Empire and carry out a thorough cleaning. Financial warrior Izanbalan v. Nasoro continued. Noxus didn't even consider our world government. If we back down this time, it would really be a joke. How can we maintain world order in the future, said Jagalucia Satan, the science defense god wearing a flat hat and holding a cane, with a gloomy face. Supplementary proposal, followed the agricultural god shepherd Ten Pit. Agree. Let's go to war. The environmental god Marcus Maz also agreed. This time, there is no dispute and a unanimous vote was passed to go to war with Texas. We're going to fight, but how should we do it? Should Qingji temporarily withdraw or send reinforcements immediately to start the war, said the environmental god Marcus Maz once again. That's right. What kind of war should we launch? A small or a big one? A partial collision or a full-scale war, followed the agricultural god Shepherd 10th Pit. Then let's call the warring states and the heir together for discussion. Let's first report to Lord IMM and see her opinion, said the god of scientific defense, Jinkesi Satan. Kazan's side must make a decision immediately. He can't keep Noxus, and if he insists, Kazan is likely to be damaged there. Even if reinforcements are sent over now, they won't arrive so quickly. My suggestion is to let Kazan retreat first, awaken the agricultural god Shepherd 10 Petty. But if Noxus were to go back like this, we would have to send a large army to fight within the territory of Noxus. There would be no choice, it would definitely be a big battle, frowned the environmental god Marcus Maz. Since we don't have a choice, let's fight a big war, said the financial warrior Izanbalan v. Nasoro forcefully. This statement made a hint of doubt flash on the faces of the three old stars. Is a big war a big war? You said it lightly. As the saying goes, the place where Texas is located is the New World. The military strength of the Noxus Empire itself made them extremely wary, let alone their home ground. There are also Whitebeards, Red Hair, Kai Duo, Bigmam, Wang Ji, and many ambitious individuals with strong capabilities. It's better to consult Lord IMM first before making a decision. Let the green pheasant withdraw first, as he may fall from the standoff there, said the god of scientific defense, Jinkesi Satan. New World sees. After receiving the order to retreat, the green pheasant decisively ordered a retreat. Swine also did not obstruct and allowed the Navy ships to evacuate. After the Navy withdrew, the Gulen Tesalo of Tesalo immediately set sail, heading towards the direction of the Norse Empire. The matter seems to have come to an end. But a bigger storm is brewing. Panga City in the Holy Land of Maria. In the main hall of Panga City, the 5 old stars respectfully stand here. On the stairs in front of the main hall, there is a throne called the Empty Throne. 20 weapons are inserted in front of the throne, a pledge made by the first 20 people, who created this world 800 years ago, representing the center of the world and a symbol of peace that no one can touch. Just as the peak of world power is controlled by the 5 old stars, among the Tianlong people, there is no unique king in this world, so no one can sit on this throne. However, this rule was broken. Under the gaze of the 5 old stars, a figure wearing a crown with 4 towering spikes and a cloak that reached the ground sat proudly on the throne. 5 old stars come to pay their respects. 5 old stars kneel on one knee underground. Are you here because of the matter with Noxus? IMM asked as he looked down at no one below. IMM is not completely ignorant of the external situation, and it is impossible for her to hold the highest power in the world or make the 5 old stars bow down and submit. On the contrary, she knows everything, such as the full picture of the events in the Norse Empire. Exactly. We want to know your attitude, replied the forensic god Topman watchily. The world's nobility has been openly killed, how can the world government not take action? If our prestige is lost, the world will be even more turbulent. The world government, which has ruled the world for 800 years and has 170 allies, is afraid of a country that has only developed for a few years. What is the meaning of the existence of the world government? How can the ants in this world respect God again? IME expressed his attitude. We all lean toward starting a war, but the place of engagement is in the New World, and we have deep doubts, replied the environmental god Marcus Maz. Then make a plan. If you only want the outcome, you must maintain the credibility of the world government, make Noxus pay the price, or even eliminate them, as a warning to others. IME said. We understand, the 5 old stars responded in unison. Chapter 10. War between world governments and empires. You are listening at Naval full.audio. The 5 Elder Star received the answer from IMM and immediately summoned the Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Air Force, and Admiral of the Navy, FOTSI Warring States, to attend a meeting in Maria. After the meeting, the Warring States of Buddha immediately issued readiness orders to various naval branches and bases in the New World. At the same time, the Navy headquarters also entered a state of readiness and began to gather the Navy. Wang Xiaoquhai was also forcibly summoned by the world government, and the Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters was immediately sent to pick them up. The series of actions by the world government and Navy can be seen by discerning people, and they are ready to take action seriously. A large-scale war that is about to affect the world order is about to break out. Morgan from the World Economic Newspaper personally fabricated a newspaper and sent it to various parts of the world. The World Economic Daily clearly reported on the actions of the world's governments and navies, and war was inevitable, targeting the Noxus Empire, known as the world's largest military power with 350,000 professional soldiers. Morgan's analysis suggests that this war is likely to evolve into an unprecedented melee. Although it appears that the world government has an absolute advantage, after all, there are 3 major generals in the Navy, including the Admiral and Major General, as well as the 7 armed seas. Although the Empire of Texas had an elite army of 350,000, its high-end and mid-range combat capabilities were weaker than those of the world government and Navy. But the battlefield is in the New World. The Empire of Texas will not easily lose either. If the war continues, many ambitious individuals may come to an end. The pirates of the New World will never give up this opportunity to deal with the Navy, and the Revolutionary Army will never sit idly by. The ultimate result is likely to be the downfall of the Noxus Empire, but the Navy will also suffer extremely heavy losses. Pirates will become even more rampant, and the world will fall into even more frenzied turmoil, with no peace to speak of. Once the World Economic Daily was released, its sales were astonishing. Most people in the world agree with Morgan's analysis and are deeply concerned about the global situation. Everyone is anxiously waiting for the arrival of the Great War. At this time in the Empire of Texas, the once bustling city of Piltwave has now become much more depressed, and many businessmen have chosen to leave because they fear the impact of war on the city. In addition, the Shanghai army began to blockade the waters near the Noxus Empire and warned countries around the world to prohibit trade with the Noxus Empire, otherwise they would be considered allies. Imperial Palace. The Emperor of the Empire, the Grand Commander Away, was smoking a cigar and watching the World Book. Across from Avi's desk, on the reception sofa, Imperial Chief of Staff Swine was sitting on the sofa drinking coffee. After reading the World Economic Daily, Away smiled, put down the newspaper, and then took a puff of smoke, saying to Swine, "It seems that the world government is really angry. It's willing to trigger a full-scale war. Commander-in-Chief, you can still laugh, but you have said that the world government dare not launch a full-scale war against the Empire. It seems like it's miscalculated," Swine said with a worried expression. "The war hasn't started yet," Away said. "When the war begins, it will be difficult to stop, and the development of our empire will also come to a halt. According to the intelligence integrated by Black Rose on the world government, we are probably not yet a match for the world government," said Swine. "Chief of Staff, have you ever heard of a joint vertical and horizontal alliance?" Away asked. "Combined vertical and horizontal." Sui looked at Away in confusion. "Our family is indeed not a rival to the world government, but this is a new world. The enemies of the world government are spread throughout the entire sea area. If these forces unite, the world government will not dare to take action. The enemies of the enemy are friends, the Fourth Emperor, and the Revolutionary Army, all allies that we can strive for." Away explained. "The Grand Commander wants to unite the Fourth Emperor and the Revolutionary Army to fight against the world government. But for so many years, everyone has been fighting on their own, even attacking each other. How could they possibly join forces with us? I'm afraid they would love our empire to be captured, so they can also share the interests of our empire. Swine said. This matter is easy to handle, I'll take care of it. Away directly used the phone worm on the table to input the phone worm number of Revolutionary Army leader one.The. Long. Quickly, the phone worm on Away's desk transformed into the expression of a dragon, and at the same time, the dragon's voice came. Commander Away. Captain Dorag, you should have read the latest newspaper, said Away. Of course, I just don't understand why your country wants to protect Taijolo, and even go to war with the world government, said one.The. Long. Since Taijolo has joined me in Noxus, he is a person of Noxus, and of course the empire must protect him, Away replied. You cannot resist the world government. They have ruled the world for 800 years, but it is not as simple as it appears. You may not even be able to handle it with the navy, said one.The. Long seriously. So the empire needs the assistance of your ally now. I don't care where your revolutionary army's troops are, I have to see them appear near the empire's waters in 3 days, otherwise our cooperation will end and you will never receive any support from the empire again. Away said in a commanding tone. The development of the revolutionary army at this time was much better than in the original work, all because of the secret support of the Noxus Empire for the revolutionary army. Not only did they sell them weapons at low prices through Zuan, but they also received financial and intelligence support. The purpose of Away's support for the revolutionary army is also very simple, which is to make it difficult for the world government and also for the current situation. one.The. Long's face turned a bit unpleasant when he heard Away's words. He really didn't want to go to war with the world government too early, after all, the size of the world government was too large. But they couldn't refuse Avi, and without the support of the Noxus Empire, their progress would be much slower. Moreover, the revolutionary army does have an ally relationship with Noxus, which is neither helpful nor justifiable. The friendship of the empire is remembered by our revolutionary army, and I will personally lead the team to come, replied one.The. Long. Great. Leader Dorag, with your words, the friendship between the empire and you will last forever. Don't worry, the empire won't be easily defeated. What exactly should your revolutionary army do? Let my chief of staff coordinate with your chief of staff. Away said with a smile.